Hello, Crystal. How are you?
I'm great. Hi, Nathan. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited.
Me too. I appreciate you carving out some time for us. I think this is going to be amazing. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. So let's just jump right into it.
Let's do
Uh,
it.
so honestly, like I know you and your team, and for everybody who's listening in, you probably know her and Jared work together, and they live together, and they're together. All things together. Um, and usually we hear from Jared's perspective, but I wanted to hear your perspective because I know as a team, you guys are having a lot of success. And I think that's awesome. But I know you and Jared kind of do some different things. So, Crystal, I'm curious, you know, maybe you can go into as much detail as you want, kind of go high level, but what's it like working with Jared? What's it like doing on your own thing? Kind of how do you manage that? I know that's a big question to start off, but I'll let you kind of handle that, and I'll probably have more questions to ask for sure.
Yeah. So, yes. So, honestly, it's such a huge blessing that I get to work with Jared and that he's my husband and that we are business partners and, life partners, everything. And it just, yeah, we tend to play on each other's strengths as far as where we lead within our team. Um, Lately, we've been working a lot on mindset with our team, like getting a strong foundation in the mind. That's like a huge shift that's probably taken place over the past year that we've really pushed and implemented. But also for me, I've been because of that, I've been putting myself out there a little bit more on social media, doing a little more attraction marketing.
Mm.
So we'll get leads through different Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, things like that, just making reels, doing posts. That's been where I've been living. And so when the leads come in, then, we'll work them together. And that's sort of where he helps me on the back end too. Cause if I'm busy over here making content, he's sort of helping navigate some of those conversations in the background, which is really great because it just works out really well. When he's up training and doing stuff, I'm maybe behind the scenes I still do some of our admin stuff because that has to get done. So making our flyers and our posts and, all the things celebrating our team, all their successes that they've been having has been amazing, but it's also kept me, busy making graphics and stuff, which is a lot of fun because we want to celebrate the team, but it's been crazy how now that we've implemented this sort of, the foundation of the mindset and doing a morning routine, filling, getting their vision statements read and purpose and like just all those learning stacks that we like to implement before we even really get them in action. It just helps strengthen the way that they build their business, and that's what's really helped strengthen us. We were able to last year at the beginning of the year work with Matt Morris, who is another trainer, and just learn from him. And that's one thing that we do continuously is we continue to seek out other mentors, people that are going to help us to grow in our business, that are going to help us grow in our leadership, just our personal development. Like we want to keep growing. We may be leaders of this big organization, but like we have to get fed ourselves. We've got to get, something poured into us in order for us to really grow ourselves and pour back into everybody else. But it's just been really the transformation from this past year is it's wild to see how everything's gone and just the growth of the team. Like you said, it's exploding. We've got team in the Philippines. We've got team growing in the UK, Canada. I mean, like it's amazing how everything's gone international, and we still have things here too. But yeah, it's we're on the ride.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I know you two invest in yourselves a lot, and that's something that we've learned. Right? There's so many ways to invest in yourselves. I know you make connections with people, and you put yourself in positions where you can learn from other people. There was something that you mentioned is mindset, and I'm just curious. You said you've been working with mindset with the team, but for you there was a big shift. So are you willing to be a little bit more vulnerable and to talk about that mindset shift for yourself and kind of what got you to where you're at now?
Yeah, definitely. So, of course, I've constantly been working on myself. Like I said, we've gone to different personal growth and development seminars and leadership seminars, things like that. But I think last year when we really created are vision statements. So I have a vision statement that I read for myself. It includes Jared, it includes, our business, it includes, other things that I love to do, but just basically what I really want my life to look like and how I'm creating that and reading that. I'm starting to live into that. That's been one big thing that has been a game changer, honestly. I mean, we've done things like affirmations and stuff like that before, which, I still have that in a different part of my routine, but it it creates such a bigger picture, and it's not just business focus. It's like, how do I really want to live my life? How do I want to show up? And that's been like a really big little switch that's worked for me. And I mean, I've also just constantly reading and doing my own stuff in the background just to keep going and just to keep my mind fresh and keep learning. And some things I've heard before, but they land a little differently now. And that's one thing that I don't know if people realize that as well, is that, yeah, you can go to a seminar and you hear this and maybe you're not ready for that yet. Maybe you hear it, but it doesn't quite click, but then you keep growing and you keep going and you keep reading and then you hear it again and it really clicks. So that's one thing that I think is really cool. And I think people should realize that don't stop growing, like keep going, keep taking those actions to put yourself in front of people who are going to, make you think bigger and just see things in a different perspective.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was last convention or the previous one. I can't remember which one it was, but there was a speaker that when I heard it, I was like, oh, that was a good talk. And then we had the opportunity to listen to it, just a few days later, maybe within the 30-day window that we were able to watch it. And there was something that had happened. I don't know what it was, but I remember thinking, man, this was amazing. And it was the same talk, but I had just had different experiences that allowed me to be more open and receptive to what that was. So it sounds like that's kind of what you're saying is you may be in a position when you first hear it, and then things happen, and then when you revisit it, you're in a different position, and then you have a different perspective on that. Is that kind of what you're saying there?
Yeah, because once you learn something, you really can't unlearn it. So you're just building on top of what you're learning. And again, if you hear something one time that it doesn't quite resonate, but you hear it again, or you may just need a refresher sometimes. Sometimes you've heard it. We all know we, got to do this and do that, take these specific steps. And then you kind of forget, you kind of lag off, but you need to get kind of reeled back in and just remind yourself, okay, let me go back to the basics sometimes. And step one, what do I need to do? Step two. So it definitely is, it's a refresher, or it could be just, the right timing for that.
Got it.
So,
Awesome. And I'm curious, you said basically you have your goals together with Jared, you have your individual goals, and you kind of go through those regularly. Is that like a morning routine thing? Like how often would you suggest, if somebody is kind of looking into doing something like this, how often would you suggest them to revisit these, or how often do you do it?
every single morning.
Okay.
It's just part of the morning routine. That's literally the first thing that I do in the morning. Like, I don't look at my phone. Big tip there. Do not look at your phone immediately when you get up. It just, you're not in the right, like if as soon as you look at your phone, you start to go into a different mode, and you're kind of like in this go, 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 go. Or you'll look at your phone and you'll see a text message or an email or something. It's like, you want to stay in kind of this like deep sleep, kind of just waking up and immediately go pick up your vision statement. Or this is what I do. I'll read my core purpose. I read my vision statement. I read, I have virtues, like specific virtues that I'll live into. Like, I'll pick one per day that I live into, and there's like 10 of them. And I'll be like, okay, and this, I've got some affirmations that I also read. And then I also do a gratitude practice, which is just writing 5 things. It's really simple, just 5 things you're grateful for in the morning, and sending a gratitude text out. Like, it's so tiny little thing to do, but it makes the biggest difference, and it helps create relationships. It helps, continue to build those relationships. And then I'll do depending on what time I'm waking up or how much time I have in the morning, like 15 to 30 minutes of just reading, whatever book I'm reading, just so I'm getting my learning in. And so that's all kind of happening within the first hour ish of my morning. And then I will, once I'm complete with all of that, then I will look at my phone,
Got it.
as we all do. But
But you have the discipline that you wait for the hour. You have your you time in
yeah,
the
it's
beginning of the
so
day.
important. It's so important because as soon as you start to go, like, you also have to think about it. Are When you're looking at somebody who sent you a text message or an email, it's like you're on their schedule. It's like, no, 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 no. I need to be on my schedule at least for this first hour that I'm awake so that I can get myself ready, prepared, centered, like however you want to attack the day. But you got to have your own time. You can't just wake up because immediately looking at that, you don't want to get on somebody else's time for that first precious, beginning of your day.
Yeah.
There's always so much, and it helps too. It really helps. We're all busy, and it helps you do that in the morning.
That's interesting because I do, now that you're mentioning this, I know there's been times where I just roll over and I grab my phone, and if I have a text message of bad news or something that's like a frustration point for me or something like it takes a while for me to get out of that. And so it sounds like if I were to, delay that, then maybe for that first hour, if I'm doing the gratitude texts and the gratitude, 5 things I'm grateful for, and the going through virtues and those things, like I'm setting myself up to have a good day so that I could handle that text or that message a little bit differently. Have you noticed that as you've been doing this and putting this into practice?
Oh yeah, for sure. However your day gets started. I mean, yes, you can get back on track. I'm not saying that you roll off the wrong side of the bed and it's going to be a bad day, but that key time when you just wake up, if you can get yourself, even if it's like a quick 5 minute like meditation, just breathing, or it doesn't have to be a whole hour. If you're really you know having so much to do, like, just take that first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to just be with yourself and get yourself aligned and a little bit centered to take on the day. Because yeah, one message from the wrong person, then it just spirals, and then it's just a whole roller coaster, the ride down, not the fun part of the roller coaster, but yeah, it's just important, I think, for sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. Being able to start the day off right. And I think it takes discipline to get yourself out of those bad moods. Because like you said, throughout the day, you're going to go out, you have ups and downs, and to be able to just pull yourself out of that. Something
You
that
can even, if you also, one last thing, if you have to wake up even that much earlier, put that into practice, because you want to have that time for yourself. But I just want to make that clear also. Like,
Yeah.
you can do it.
Yeah, sometimes you have to make the time, right? And if it is
Yeah.
waking up earlier, then do that. I love that. I was kind of asking you because we've talked a little bit before, and you've talked about self-talk. And I know, like, as I'm going through the day, if I'm to a point where I want to start to talk with some potential affiliates or potential customers, potential associates, that phone is pretty heavy, right? And I start to think, oh man, what if I say this wrong, or what if I do this? And I start to go through that negative self-talk. That's something that you've been working on, and that's something that you're big on, basically getting rid of. So tell us, like, how do you manage that?
Yeah. So I read a book called The Power of Positive Thinking. It's a very good book. Um, but we are programmed from birth. A lot of times we're hearing like, no, 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 no. And then you start creating these like stories when you're younger of, whatever happened, when you were 3 years old, and like it builds, and you don't realize that some of those fears that you have of, making a call or doing that stem from, something that happened to you when you were 4, that, then somebody told you like not to say this or whatever. Like, you have these little like stories but with the negative self-talk, like, we all have it. It's just there. And the key is to be aware of it. And as soon as it happens, immediately switch it to something else. Like, switch it to something positive. Like, oh my God, I can't make this call, or I just, whatever's holding you back, like, just stop and like, no, I got this. Like, I can do this. Like, this is easy. Like, completely change the conversation that's going on in your head. And I know it's tricky at first because it's fighting. Like, that's been what's, it's been in your mind the whole time. And it is scary, but if you continue to, feed yourself that positive self-talk, like you're going to eventually change that programming to something much better. And then you're going to realize like you had the power the whole time.
Yeah, I like that. So is that, and maybe I'm making connections that aren't there, but is that part of the reason why you go through your morning routine is because if during the day you end up having something that comes in your head and it's a negative self-talk, you kind of prepared yourself because you've gone through this whole process of speaking your virtues and where you're going to be focusing on for the day and all those things because you're basically training your mind from the beginning that if it comes up later on that you need to bring it back, it's easier to do that. Is that kind of a correlation or am I just making?
Yeah, it definitely helps because I mean, the whole morning routine, like all of those that stack, it's like your armor. It's like your body of armor, like the god of armor or the armor of God or whatever. That's like protecting you and you're playing in your mind. Well, no, I told myself this morning that like I'm, an amazing businesswoman or whatever, I have in my thing. I'm like, so whatever this little tiny voice that's yapping in my mind, like that's not true. That's not real. This is real because this is what I want. This is what I'm living into. So it definitely helps for sure. Because that's also reprogramming my mind for something completely different.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. And so I'm going to maybe shift gears a little bit, but it is about mindset still. So I know recently, now I don't know in the past because we haven't really talked so much about like the past few years, but I know as of recently, like you yourself have brought in new enrollments and it's been you, and I don't know if this is a change for you, but if it is, like, how did you basically use this personal development and what you're working on to be able to get to the point where you're like, you know what, I'm doing this and then making it happen.
Well, it's a funny thing because I mean, when I first started the business, I was enrolling a lot of people, and this was before I was with Jared. Like I had my own business, and so I was growing, on my own and doing all of those things, and then things shift, things go crazy. Obviously, I went through some personal things in my life, and just recently, though, I think it's more of the attraction, like I'm attracting people that I'm becoming. Like that's part of it too, is like as you're growing and you become a stronger leader, a stronger person, like you attract those people. And so I'm on that vibration, like I'm on that level. Not that I wasn't like low to the ground or like, not like that, but it's just that's more of an intention that I'm creating now. So now when I put things out on social media, the people who are coming are people who are ready. They're people who are, hungry, they're coachable, they see, what we have and they're ready for it. And I think that's really what's been going on is I'm attracting those people that I'm becoming or even people that are, stronger than me. Cause of course that's what we want too. We want people who, and I think right now everybody's kind of in a position where, they're looking for some side hustle or side gig to have. So it's a great timing too.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah, that's true. You do have an amazing story and you're such a strong person. And for anybody who doesn't know that, you know, find that out because we don't have time to go into that much detail right now. But you are an amazing person and it's fun to see the growth that you and Jared, but I'm focusing on you right now. It's fun to see the growth that you're going through and the changes that you two are seeing and what's happening within your business. So I know I've already taken up so much of your time here. So I just was curious before we end, what's maybe one last piece of advice or last words of wisdom that you want to leave with us before we close out this podcast?
So I recently spoke at the women's retreat, and this is actually the thing that I left them with. So I've been living into something recently that I saw. I mean, we all hear fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it. When you're going out there and you're scared, just fake it till you make it. And yeah, that you can do that, but sometimes people are a little hesitant to even like do that. But one little word has shifted that. And this is what I'm leaving you with. Instead of fake it till you make it, faith it till you make it. So have faith that whoever you're talking to is going to hear what you have to say. Have faith that, the people that are coming into your life for this or for whatever it is are the right people at the right time. Have faith that the people that are leaving or the circumstances that you're in, whether they're good or bad, they're going to serve you in some way. And just, number one, though, have faith in yourself that you can actually do it and you can live the life that you want to live, and just go do it.
That's so important. Awesome. Thank you so much, Crystal. I appreciate your time. This has been a great conversation. I love talking about mindset and hearing what people do to be able to progress and basically become who they want to be. And so it's been great to hear from you and the process you're going through. And it sounds like you're going to continue to grow, and we'll continue to hear from you here in the near future and in the very far future as well.
Yes, thank you so much, Nathan. Always a pleasure having conversation with you and getting to hang out with you. You guys are amazing. We love the support that we have from everybody, and just greatly appreciate you.
Thanks, Crystal.